Emergency medical services, also known as ambulance services or paramedic services, are emergency services that provide urgent pre-hospital treatment and stabilization for serious illness and injuries and transport to definitive care. They may also be known as a first aid squad, fast squad, emergency squad, ambulance corps, life squad, or by other initialisms such as EMAS or EMARS. In most places, the EMS can be summoned by members of the public via an emergency telephone number which puts them in contact with a control facility, which will then dispatch a suitable resource for the situation. Ambulances are the primary vehicles for delivering EMS, though some also use cars, motorcycles, aircraft, or boats. EMS agencies may also operate a non-emergency patient transport service, and some have rescue squads to provide technical rescue services. As a first resort, the EMS provide treatment on the scene to those in need of urgent medical care. If it is deemed necessary, they are tasked with transferring the patient to the next point of care. This is most likely an emergency department of a hospital. Historically, ambulances only transported patients to care, and this remains the case in parts of the developing world. The term emergency medical service was popularized when these services began to emphasize diagnosis and treatment at the scene. In some countries, a substantial portion of EMS calls do not result in a patient being taken to hospital. Training and qualification levels for members and employees of emergency medical services vary widely throughout the world. In some systems, members may be present who are qualified only to drive ambulances, with no medical training. In contrast, most systems have personnel who retain at least basic first aid certifications, such as basic life support skills. Physicians and nurses also provide pre-hospital care to varying degrees in different countries. Emergency care in the field has been rendered in different forms since the beginning of recorded history. The New Testament contains the parable of the Good Samaritan, in which a man who has been beaten is cared for by a passing Samaritan. Luke chapter 10 verse 34, he went to him and bandaged his wounds, pouring on oil and wine. Then he put the man on his own donkey, took him to an inn and took care of him. During the Middle Ages, the Knights Hospitaller were known for rendering assistance to wounded soldiers in the battlefield. The first use of the ambulance as a specialized vehicle in battle came about with the ambulances volantes designed by Dominique Jean Larrey Battlefield, after they had received early treatment in the field. Larrey's projects for flying ambulances were first approved by the Committee of Public Safety in 1794. Larrey subsequently entered Napoleon's service during the Italian campaigns in 1796, where his ambulances were used for the first time at Udine, Padua and Milan, and he adapted his ambulances to the conditions, even developing a litter which could be carried by a camel for a campaign in Egypt. A major advance was made with the introduction of a transport carriage for cholera patients in London during 1832. The statement on the carriage, as printed in the Times, said, "The curative process commences the instant the patient is put into the carriage. Time is saved which can be given to the care of the patient. The patient may be driven to the hospitals so speedily that the hospitals may be less numerous and located at greater distances from each other." This tenet of ambulances providing instant care, allowing hospitals to be spaced further apart, displays itself in modern emergency medical planning. The first known hospital-based ambulance service operated out of Commercial Hospital, Cincinnati, Ohio by 1865. This was soon followed by other services, notably the New York service provided out of Bellevue Hospital, which started in 1869 with ambulances carrying medical equipment, such as splints, a stomach pump, morphine, and brandy, reflecting contemporary medicine. Another early ambulance service was founded by Jeremiah V. Mundy, Count J. N. Wilczek, and Edward Lamazan Salins in Vienna after the disastrous fire at the Vienna Ring Theatre in 1881. Named the Vienna Voluntary Rescue Society, it served as a model for similar societies worldwide. In June 1887, the St. John Ambulance Brigade was established to provide first aid and ambulance services at public events in London. It was modeled on a military-style command and discipline structure. Also in the late 19th century, the automobile was being developed. And in addition to horse-drawn models, early 20th century ambulances were powered by steam, gasoline, and electricity, reflecting the competing automotive technologies then in existence. However, the first motorized ambulance was brought into service in the last year of the 19th century, with the Michael Reese Hospital, Chicago, taking delivery of the first automobile ambulance. Donut.